So I just got off a group call with my brothers from the EM tribe. We have one every Sunday at 7 p.m. CST. And this week we just talked about bouncing back, right? One of the most important aspects of being able to have a continuous, lifelong transformation is not letting a day bring you down, right? Not letting one mistake compound, cycle into many others. Now, it's always discussion, right? We had about 10 guys there today. And so, we open discussion for what are the biggest things that make you spiral, right? That either in the sense of one day, 1 week, the month, etc. And it was overwhelmingly lust, porn, and masturbation. And this is including myself, right? Social media is probably the most common one. But if lust ever does get me and masturbation ever does get me, it does end up dramatically reducing my energy, my confidence, which a bounce back the next day is required. However, I was sitting here just kind of reflecting, right? We have 10 guys all on a mission to better their lives. And a majority of us are struggling with lust, despite really wanting to be the greatest version of ourselves. And we all know how destructive it is. We've all reflected, given our own experience. We know what it does, and we know we shouldn't be doing it. And we know if we are able to control it, then we unlock such a new level of energy, faith, purity, just clarity. It's probably the devil's biggest trick. If there was one thing that destroyed men more than anything else, if there's one of the 7 deadly sins, I think the most common one is going to be lust. The problem about lust is, despite knowing how destructive it is, it's still so hard to combat, right? Some of the most disciplined people in the world will get destroyed by lust. And so I want to take this time to really give my knowledge on how to overcome it, right? Because something I've thought deeply about. In the beginning of my transformation, almost all of my attention went into looking at SR pure retention forums on Reddit and just doing research on semen retention. And like in my journal on a daily basis, I would write, whatever I did that day, but I would mark the days by my SR streak. How many days I went without porn and masturbation, right? So it'd be like, all right, day 5, day 6, day 7. And then if I, relapse, it would go back to day 0. And that's how much I cared about it, right? That's, instead of putting the date on there, well, I actually did put the date, but that was front and center right on the top. And I've definitely gotten to the point where I have the tactics, have the ability to combat it when I need to, right? Which is always. And I've coached many other men through it, and I'm going to give you guys the greatest advice, right? The only advice, really, that is going to work to combat this disease, this mental infiltration that the devil uses. The problem with lust and the reason semen retention and abstaining from porn and masturbation is so difficult is because we have this sexual energy inside of us, right? We all have it, right? It's one of the biggest drivers. It leads us to procreate. It's a creative energy. It's very, very strong, right? In a lot of Eastern traditions, they see sexual energy as the strongest energy humans have. Thing is, you can't get rid of it, right? Nor should you try to. And if you don't have the right techniques and the right understanding in place, what that energy does is it needs to be used, right? And so the first thing, the default way we use that energy is it goes to our mind, right? We feel that energy go to our mind, which is lust, end up fantasizing. Now this energy is all over the place, needs release, and it takes the easiest route out, which is ejaculation and masturbation. And so the only way you're going to combat this is seeing it for what it is, which is energy. It cannot be destroyed. It can only be transmuted, right? So we have this energy, this sexual energy within us, right? And it builds the longer we're on a semen retention streak. When you release that energy, you literally feel the release. You're less attracted to your woman. You have less energy, right? You have that post-nut clarity. And so take some time to build back up, right? Now, it's built back up a couple days. What do? Right? This energy has to go somewhere. And so tip number 1 is going to be, you have to stay busy, right? You cannot be idle, right? An idle mind is the devil's workshop. If you are idle, right, that energy will have nowhere to go, and it will infiltrate your mind, which will lead to ejaculation, right? And so the best way to do this is usually, people have work, maybe morning isn't as much of a struggle, it's at night is struggle, right? So you need to create certain tasks after work, right? Optimize your 5 to 9. Gym is huge, right? You have to have some physical exertion. That's extremely important. In addition, pick up a book. Don't get on social media, which gets into the next one. Social media is going to be the gateway drug into watching porn. Every single time I have relapsed in the past couple years has always been triggered by some half-naked chick on Instagram, right? Because first things first, when we're on social media, our guard is down, our brain is on passive mode, we're just consuming, right? And so as we're in that mode and then we see that, we just go by our next default instinct. Right now, the default instinct is just to mindlessly scroll, and then when the default instinct becomes to lust, the next default instinct is to pull up porn, and then you know what happens from there, right? So if you do not have a business and do not need social media, delete it, right? If you cannot delete it, hit not interested on every half-naked chick you see. And since you already know this right now, and you might forget it while you're mindlessly scrolling next time, consciously go on your feed and just scroll with the idea of, okay, every time I see a half-naked chick, just gonna hit not interested. Every time I hit a see an half-naked, just doom, over and over again. If you have to repeat this cycle every, month or so, that's fine. Next one is going to be energy control, right? Qigong is a great way to do this. You don't need to know full Qigong, you just need to be conscious, right? You need to be able to take that energy, and instead of letting it go to your mind, you need to know how to breathe it through the body, right? Get it out of your head. Again, it has to go somewhere, and if it goes to the mind, it's going to turn into lust. So what we need to do is keep that energy flowing throughout the body. This is as simple as, when you feel the lust, taking a deep breath, right? Take a deep breath, relax your pelvic floor. That's where we store a lot of this sexual energy. Take a deep breath and exhale all the way out. Go to the breath. That is another way to transmute the energy, right? Get moving, go on a run, work out. In addition, breathe, brother. Take deep breaths, focus on letting that energy go to the body. I teach a full Qigong practice within my method. If you're interested in learning that, DM me method on Instagram, and I'll break that fully down for you. Last but not least is going to be mindfulness, brothers, right? We have to be able to see it if we are going to fight. If we do not see the enemy, it is going to infiltrate. Like, literally see lust as a devil, and it's going to use every tactic possible to get that energy to go to lust and to ejaculation, to keep you dumb, to keep you dull, to keep you away from your higher purpose, right? Your higher calling, right? Keep you spiritually numb. Now, in order to fight this devil, we need to be able to see him attack. And so when we lust, right, there is a point where we have the decision to either go into fantasizing or say no, right? I'm going to breathe. I'm going to focus on something else, right? You cannot help the thought arising, right? That is normal. That's human. We are men, right? It's just going to happen. But when the thought arises, you have an opportunity, right? And every man, if you have a little bit of mindfulness meditation is a great way to just get better at noticing these things, not even lust, greed, gluttony, all negative thought patterns. Mindfulness is a grateful tool. However, you don't need to do mindfulness meditation. It's going to help. Really help me, but see it, right? Care about it. And when you see it, boom, there's your chance. No, right? I know what you're trying to do. And what really helps with this is really emphasizing to yourself how important it is that you are on a long semen retention streak, how important it is that you are pure. I cannot emphasize enough how much better quality of life gets when you get that pure mind combined with semen retention. Semen retention is just part of it. What is even more important than not masturbating and watching porn is keeping a clear mind. That's when the benefits really come. And that's why a lot of people who try it end up being like, no, I feel worse, I feel anxious, is because they have all this lust going on in their minds. They're not pure, and that energy just gets so stagnant, right? So make sure mental purity is a goal for you. If you see a woman, you don't have to say, oh no, she's not pretty, but instead of thinking about all the positions you're going to put her in, just breathe it through your body. Last but not least is going to be, if you get to the point where you lusted, maybe you even pulled up the porn site, right? It's definitely harder to come back from this point, but what can save you is focusing on the after, right? If you have gone many times with the regret, the post-nut clarity, feeling shit about it, right? Think it about that. Make that the present feeling. The only way you can overcome it after you've reached this point is making that future the now, right? Consciously think about how painful it's going to be, how much you're going to regret it, instead of the dopamine hit that's right in front of you, because that's the problem. It's right in front of you, right? The dopamine hit, all of your energy is just like, yes, 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 right? You need a counterbalance. So throw the phone, right? Close the browser, go on a walk, and just think about how happy you are that you didn't go down that road, right? And how pissed you would be if you did. And that's one I didn't really think about, but one of my guys mentioned today is, he said the biggest thing that helped him is having a brotherhood, right? He says now when he's thinking about doing it, he's thinking about letting his brothers down. He's like, other people are depending on me, right? And so he has more of a reason not to do it, right? He has me, of course, as a coach, but in addition, the whole brotherhood. So get around other individuals who are on the same path as you, who you feel a responsibility to live up to your highest self for those guys or girls or whoever it may be. Yeah, brothers, I can assure you this is something you must overcome as a man if you want to reach your fullest potential. Fullest potential, physique, dating, purpose, all of those have so many reasons why you need to retain. Like I said in the beginning, the sexual energy is powerful. So if you learn how to control it, how to transmute it instead of release it whenever you feel it, it is a superpower. It's probably the closest thing to a superpower us humans has, is that sexual energy. All right, brothers, that's it for today. I just really felt like I needed to get that out there. I'm probably going to make a guide on this just because it's so massively important. But yeah, I hope that helps. Please apply this. Again, you can DM me on Instagram with any questions. If you want to hop on a quick call, discuss your situation, we can do that as well. Much love, boys. Let's keep it going through the New Year's. Until next time.